Welcome to the Krueger and Krueger minicast, where we talk about baseball and softball, life, and everything in between. My name is Tony Krueger, and I'm with my dad, Korey Krueger. This minicast is sponsored by Network Health. Network Health Medicare Advantage plans offer great benefits and expansive coverage network that keeps you secure at home and free to venture. So, I'm here with my dad, longtime college coach and travel ball coach. Lots of wins under his belt. So we're here at the school, historic Nicolet Public School. So Dad, I just want to ask you, what is the school and what's kind of like the history behind it?
Well, this is an old building, built many, many years ago, 1894. They did an add-on of this area we're in right now. This is like the principal's office, as well as the gymnasium, which we also use for training. And basically it was a public school that was purchased by Focus Property Management, and they rent to us. So basically we're in a situation where we're renting from them, but we've got almost 4,000 square feet here.
Right. And how big is the gym, do you think?
Gosh, I think it's 75 by 60.
And we got
so maybe more than 4,000 square feet then.
There's a cage in there. We got a weight room as well.
Yep.
Talk about the weight room a little bit, how it's kind of a unique situation.
Yeah, last year Sweet Treats used to own that, used to rent from Focus, and they moved out. And so what we did is we redid the whole thing. We cleaned it up, painted it, put in blinds, put in a new flooring system, and then put about $6,000 worth of weights in there so that all of our kids could come in and do weight workouts. And we use it too for some of our explosion training stuff.
And the name of the business is the School Baseball and Softball Academy. Mm-hmm. So what would you say the difference is between an academy and more just like a regular baseball and softball lesson giving business?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for us, the reason that we called it an academy is because we do have an approach that is a little bit more, I don't know, it's not necessarily academic, but we definitely like teach more than just the physical movements of baseball and softball. So we want to talk a lot about mental stuff, mental approach. We also want to talk a little bit about recruiting and the best practices. We also talk quite a bit about how-tos, like showing video on how to do something, how to turn a double play, how to tag up on a ball when you're at third base, things like that, just because it's a little bit more of a learning experience. The second part to it is like the academic part of it, or the academy part of it, is that this is for life. It's not like you're learning these lessons about baseball and softball for 1 minute. It's forever.
Right. And we use whiteboards a lot to kind of draw stuff out too. Mm-hmm. I think especially for the younger kids, that can be really helpful. It's one thing to just kind of show them or explain things to them, but also like to draw it out and maybe phrase it in a way that makes sense, to different kinds of young kids, because we're dealing with kids of all different ages, right? Mm-hmm. So as far as your career in coaching, where would you say like the beginning of your career as a coach kind of started?
It started at a very early age. When I started umpiring, I think actually it started because I was 14 years old. I was umpiring games, for the city of Appleton. And, there's so many times when I saw something and I would just stop and tell people something, So it started there. And then the city actually noticed that I was doing that. And they gave me a program where I had some kids on the south side over at McKinley Elementary, where I started off with like 10 or 12 kids, and then the next week it was 20, and the next week it was 30, and I actually needed an assistant. So, I was very young. I was 16 years old when I first got that job doing that. So it was, and that seems like so long ago. I guess that's 35 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think you don't really realize how early it starts too. I think for a lot of the older kids in our program, they don't understand that maybe they're already starting their coaching journey, mm-hmm. When they're helping out the younger kids or they're volunteering for camps or whatever it is. So I think it was the same for me. Like, I didn't really realize when my coaching journey actually started. I thought it started, after my career was over, mm-hmm. but it really started when I was a lot younger, so that's a really good point. A great question that I think is good, and I think you'll enjoy this, is what is your favorite type of player to coach?
Oh, that's a great question. You put me on the spot here. My favorite player is, I like the grit. I like the hard worker. I like the one that's process driven, that really enjoys the process of it, doesn't get too mad at failure, but pushes themselves and wants to be better. The one that comes early, stays late, does extra, that's the player I really like. The problem is that not everyone's like that, but I like that player the most.
Right. And do you think that that kind of player is more common in today's game, or maybe, throughout your years of coaching, do you think that player is less common in today's game compared to when you started out?
That's a weird answer too, I think, because in my day, everyone played multiple sports all the time. Whereas today, you've got a lot less multiple sport athletes, a lot more focused athletes. So what happens is there's a lot of people who are lifting extra or going to do explosion training or do some kind of, other stuff on the side. So everyone's doing that. Right. So there's a lot of people doing extra. The problem is, are they doing the right extra? That's number one. And number two, are they doing, are they focused on the right things to get them, so is the process right so that they're going to get to their goals? So are they here? Yeah, I think they're here. And I think there's more people who are aware of what to do. But you still need to have somebody who can kind of put you on the right track. So right. I think that's kind of where we come in, or where there's other organizations that do similar things to us that do that.
Right. And you say this all the time, it takes a village. So, a lot of times when it comes to a kid's development, it's not just one sport, maybe it's a football coach and a baseball coach and an English teacher and a gym teacher and a, grandparent, parent, whatever it is. There's a lot of people that can really help with the kid's development overall.
Well, I think that's a big thing for us to be humble about, is that, do we have a part in a player going on to college or maybe becoming a professional? Yes, we do. However, we are one small part. There's family members, there's, parents, obviously, there's teachers, there's, pastors, priests, etc. There's, the guidance counselor who said, hey, I really want you to look at the school. I mean, there's all those things. There's other programs, where you're doing lessons with people. I mean, think about your first coach. What did you learn from that coach? They deserve credit, right? What did you learn from someone that coached you in high school? They deserve credit. So we can't take full credit for anything. All we can do is just help out and be a part of that process. Yeah.
So let's say I'm a kid watching this. I'm, anywhere from 7 years old to 17 years old, and I'm, in this program or a part of a different program or even in a different sport. What are the 3 best ways to improve your game as an athlete, just kind of in a general sense, would you say, if you had to just pick 3?
I would say number 1 is watch. You want to watch others, best practices. Is there someone in your organization who does the extra, works super hard? It seems like they're on the right path. Everyone kind of talks about them with respect, like they're doing the right things. So that's number 1. Watch that. Watch games. Watch. The more you go to, the more stuff you're going to learn. That's number 1. Number 2, surround yourself with people. Get in front of people who have the knowledge and can do can teach you the things that are going to help you get there faster. I always say this all the time. If you take 1,000 swings, you're probably going to become a better hitter. But if you take 1,000 swings with information about what you might do something better to improve, you're probably going to get better faster. Right. So those 2 things: watch a lot, and then put yourself with people that are going to teach you the things. And then the third thing is, I would say this is going to sound crazy: get sleep. I didn't sleep a lot when I was younger. When I was, even your age, I was up all